Thank you so much for letting me be here today. It's a very special day for me. I want to thank parents and the committee for allowing me to share my story. I don't think really they realize how special this day is for me. For the past 17 years, on October 12th, I would be in New York, Staten Island, New York, for the last 17 years. On this day, I'll be in New York. I would be at my mom's gravesite, September 12th. This is her birthday. And when I got this opportunity to come before you guys to share my story, it wasn't even a hesitation. I had to be here. There's just so many things that's going through my mind right now. I'm going to share my story with I wouldn't say a heavy heart, a full heart. And I'm going to be real. And I just need you guys to bear with me and be with me. You guys with me?
Yes.
All right, okay. I mean, countless times I've reflected on my life and how I started and where I am today. I still scratch my head. Now, Steven Spielberg could not have written a script like this. Couldn't. I mean, I can remember back 5, 6 years old. I'm originally from Brooklyn, Staten Island, New York. Lived with my grandmother. I remember this vividly. My brother and I lived in my grandmother's house. And my mom would live there, but she wouldn't. It would pretty much be a pit stop for her because my mom at that time, about 6 years old, she was heavy with the drugs. She was a drug addict, and she was out in the street, prostituting. I would rarely see my mom. And for me to remember this so vividly, it's kind of frightening that the times that she would come home, she'll come home, and I would be the first person at that door where she would bypass me and give my brother love. Now, she would acknowledge me eventually and say, hey, behave yourself. And I never understood that. The only thing that I knew at that age, my mom didn't like me. She didn't dig me. There are moments in our lives that changes you forever. And this one moment, and I had a few, but this one particular moment, my mom came home one day, arguing with my grandmother. Long story short, she's moving us from Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, which was 98% African American, black, to Staten Island, New York, which was the complete opposite. And we moved within a week. We were gone. I was stripped from the only family that I knew. And I'm gonna keep it real. Before that time, I didn't come across white people. Didn't. Even in school, we had black teachers. But now I went from one spectrum to another. So that was the first culture shock. And when we moved, I come to find out, and what I'm telling you is the absolute truth. Where we were moving to, my mom met this man. It was her client. He was a John, my mom's client. Now, that's another story in itself. This man, unbelievable man. But we ended up moving to Staten Island, New York. I resented my mother. Didn't speak to her for a while. My brother, younger brother, didn't care. He was happy. He was young. Didn't know. Me, on the other hand, different type of story. Because it didn't take long before I started having issues in the neighborhood. You know, when you walk outside, on the driveway, it says, nigger go away, or you're playing outside the street, this car comes, tries to run you over, things of that nature. I dealt with that for years. And the more I dealt with it, the more I resented my mom. It didn't take long for my mom to start reproducing. She ended up having 3 additional kids by this man, Sam. Okay, full-fledged Italian cat. You know, when he cursed in Italian. I mean, very boisterous, very, very intimidating. I couldn't stand him for so many years because he always used to fight with my mother all the time. I didn't know what those fights were about. Didn't know. Until many years later, I found out what those fights were about. My mom reproduced, had 3 other kids. It was a total of 5. I'm the oldest of 5. During that time, my mom's still stuck on those drugs. She's still doing heavy on those drugs. And what do you think happened? Me being the oldest. Cooking dinner, changing diapers, braiding hairs, caregiving at age 9. In addition to my brothers and sisters, I was caring for my mom when she was wigged out on the drugs. I did not have an outlet. I was so upset, I was so pissed, I was so angry. I had resentment in my heart for my mother. And I kept my distance from my dad. I don't even like calling my stepdad, that's my dad. I kept my distance from him. I didn't trust him. He was a die-hard Jets fan. Always used to go ahead. Season tickets to 09 would ask me every week, you want to go? You want to go? You want to go? No. No. Never called him dad, nothing like that. One particular day, my mom came up to me and said, next time he asks you to go, you're going to go. You understand me? Yes, ma'am. Came back and asked me to go to a game. It was a preseason game with the Chicago Bears. Never forget. Walter Sweetness Payton. That was another moment that changed my life. Because if any of you that know how this man played, he was all heart. Never ran out of bounds, always wanted to take a hit. And before that time, football was cool. I love boxing. Football was cool. But that particular day changed my life because I saw this cat. I'm like, I want to be like him. I want to be like him. And I was obsessed with the game after that. Because it had a physicality that I so needed. I had so much inside that I had to get out. And I had no outlet. So football became my outlet. From that moment on, I had posters all over my room, Walter Payton. I watched every game. It completely changed my life. And as the years went on, the more the years went on, the more invested I got in the game. I couldn't sleep without a football in my hand. And during those years, my mom saw that and she used football to keep me in line. If I didn't do my chores, you couldn't go outside and play football. You couldn't go outside and play. Hey, she took my football away. She used it. She was trying to teach me a lesson that family comes first, responsibilities come first, priorities. All these things that she was trying to teach me, I wasn't hearing. I had resentment in my heart. She took me away from my grandmother. She put me in a situation that I had no clue about. Race, the division of that. Didn't understand that until I moved to Staten Island, New York. So there was a lot of resentment, a lot. I remember playing Pop Warner football, Pee Wee League football. Never forget this, because this is another moment that changed my life. And an event occurred that it stays with me today. I was one of the smallest cats you will ever see play football, but I played with I guess, an anger that people couldn't understand. When I played Pop Warner football, I was a running back, and coincidentally, I was one of their better players. The rules were, though, you had to come to practice on time, and you had to come to practice and come on time, or you couldn't play. Well, I couldn't. I couldn't come to practice on time. I was caring for my brothers and sisters. I did not let anybody know my situation back at home. No one knew. No, even in high school, college, and at the next level, no one knew what I went through. wasn't until I wrote my book that people, oh, yeah. But they didn't know that I was caring for my brothers and sisters. That's the reason why I was coming late. The problem was, I was one of their better players, so they kept playing me. What do you think happened? My teammates resented me. And I don't know if you know about brotherhood and football and all that, it's a fraternity. And when you're letting your brothers down, that's hard. So I remember going to practice one day with my equipment in hand. I said, Coach, I can't play anymore. I got so much going on at home, I can't play. And he says, what are you talking? Coach, I can't play. And I turned my back and started walking away, and I was balling. And I went to a park a couple miles down the road. Went to a park and sat. That man followed me at that park. That coach followed me. And my very first lesson that I learned, he says, Turner, I don't know what's going on at home. I don't know what you're going through at home. But the one thing you're not going to do is you're not going to quit. If you quit now, you're going to develop a pattern that you can't get out. You're going to quit school. You're going to quit your job. You're going to quit your family. You're going to quit, and you're never going to accomplish anything, and you're not going to pay it forward. You're not going to be in a position to do anything in your life if you quit now. If you quit now, that's it. Never mind football. Just don't quit. And I tell you guys, from that moment on, I never quit anything. I never quit anything. And I gave it everything that I had in everything that I did. And I made it through. He says, if I have to move practice out later, I'll do that. If I have to come pick you up, I'll do that. But you will not quit on me. You will not quit on yourself. And that changed my life. That changed my life. Another moment that changed my life. And I'm not sure, I don't know what category to put this in, if it was for the good or bad, but I remember coming home from school, throwing my books down. I had to go to the bathroom, rush to the bathroom. I opened up that door, and my mom's sitting there. She's shooting up. I knew my mom did drugs. I never saw it before. She literally had the needle in her arm, and she was shooting up. I yelled at her for the first time ever in my life, "What are you doing?" She says, "Get in here. I want you to get in here. I want you to see what I'm doing." She summoned me in that bathroom, and she made me sit down while she was taking these drugs. I said, "Mom, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?" She says, "I want you to watch me do this because I never want you in this position. This is going to kill me." I said, and I asked them the stupidest question ever. "Mom, if you know this is going to kill you, why are you doing it?" She proceeded to tell me the story that happened back when she was 18 years old. Walking home from band practice, two guys grabbed her, covered her mouth, drug up on the top of an abandoned apartment building, 30 men waiting. They brutally raped her. They were going to throw her off that roof. They heard someone coming. Threw her to the ground, took off. A couple weeks later, I'm a product of that. And everything started coming together, guys. All those times I saw my mom look at me with such cold eyes. She would look at me so hard sometimes, she would look through me. And it would be so hard and cold, I would have to look away. And at that very moment, I understood why she looked at me. Because I was a walking, talking, breathing reminder of what happened to her that day. Now, the other thing that kind of hit me was, why did she keep me? No one would have faulted her had she aborted me. No one would have faulted her had she given me up for adoption. But the strength of this woman, she kept me. But at that moment, I knew why. she was looking at me the way she was. And from that moment on, I felt like trash. I felt like garbage. Didn't know why the hell I was on this earth. Like, why? I had the lowest self-esteem. From that moment on, 12 years old, I didn't look at myself in the mirror. Couldn't. I didn't like what I saw. I was a reminder. So football became even that much more to me, because when I stepped on that football field, I wasn't that product. When I stepped on that football field, I was able to get that emotion, that anger out of me. I was able to get it out. I bet you any amount of money, if someone would have tested my DNA off the football field and the cat that was on the football field, you had two completely different people. So football became that much more to me than anything else in the world. By the time I hit my freshman year, 5'6", 97 pounds. Had no business playing football. But I tried out for the freshman football team. And I was so paranoid that I was going to get cut because of my size. I snuck inside the gym, the school gym, and I found a 10-pound plate. True story. I took my shoelace, my sneakers. I took the lace off. I took that shoelace, put it through the plate, tied it around my waist, put my sweatpants over, and my sweat tie. True story. I wanted to be over 100 pounds. So when I went and weighed, I was over 100 pounds. Little did I know, years later, I find out my high school football coach knew what I did. Okay, so this is how he told me. So I was doing research as far as my first book, and we reminisce all the time. He says, Coach, you know what I did my freshman year? He says, I know exactly what you did. He said, you had that 10-pound plate in front of your pants. I said, how'd you know? He says, either one or two things. Either you had a 10-pound plate in the front of your pants, or you were the most gifted 14-year-old I've ever seen. And I said, Coach, why didn't you say anything? He says, the moment I saw that, I knew I had a football player. I knew that you were going to give it everything you had. So that's the reason why I didn't say anything. My freshman year, I did well, missed games, so on and so forth, and same issues, caring for home. But I did well enough to where Coach was going to elevate me my sophomore year to try out for the varsity, believe it or not, quarterback. Go figure. I hated it. I wanted to play running back, sweetness. But he said that I want my best player at the quarterback position. So I got all excited about this. I mean, I'm feeling pretty decent now. Got a little break. Come home, run to go tell my mom, and first thing comes out of her mouth, you didn't do your dishes, or you didn't clean your room, you're grounded. I said, but I just made I'm going to go on varsity, we're going to start training. You're not training anything. And I'll never forget this, because this is probably something that'll probably, it's haunting me. I looked at my mother, and I stared at her. Then I ran to my room, and I got on the side of that bed, and I got on my knees, and I prayed. And I prayed that she would go. I prayed that she would die. And I meant it. I meant it. And 72 hours later, she was gone. You know? I know I didn't kill my mom. I know I didn't. The timing of when I got on my knees and prayed that she would go And when she left, remembering the sacrifices that that lady made for me to be on this earth, reminding myself that I was a constant reminder every time she looked at me of what happened to her back when she was 18 years old. I don't think you guys realize the pain that I have. The heart is broken. That's the reason why I have the strength to come before you guys and share my story in regards to not allowing anyone else to go through what I'm going through right now. If I can reach one of you that are in similar circumstances that I'm in, if you're having issues with your parents or whatever, your kids, would it have been different had I not gone on my knees that day and she ended up passing? Would it have been different for me? Would I have this heavy heart? Would it be broken right now? I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I got on my knees that day. 72 hours later, my mom was gone. I remember being at that gravesite. I dropped to my knees and I was just, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it, Mom. But, you know, I wasn't happy with God. I thought he was punishing me. I thought he didn't like me because of what I did. And I didn't know what to do. The only thing I could do, the only thing I knew to do was make sure my brothers and sisters were taken care of. Because prior to my mom dying, she would periodically say, and it didn't make any sense to me, if anything were to ever happen to me or your dad, make sure your brothers and sisters, you guys all stay together. And it didn't register until years later. Now my mom's gone. Dad steps in. But to that moment, I'm 14, 15, I'm 15 years old. I've never called that man, I've been with him since I was 6, never called that man Dad before. Never. 3-4 months after my mom passed, I'm coming home from school. I see his car in the driveway. I'm like, what the hell? Usually he'll be at work. I walk in, go in the kitchen. He's at the kitchen table. His hand is in his face is in his hands. And I'm like, what's up? And he takes his face away from his hands. And I've never seen, other than the funeral, I've never seen him really cry. He says, it's a tough day. I miss your mom. I miss your mom. That's a love story that I will never understand, and it's so real. And I'm going to definitely share it in my next book that I'm writing right now. But that is a love story that it doesn't make any sense to me. But at that moment, I walked up to him and I gave him a hug and I said, I'm going to be okay, Dad. First time I ever called that man Dad. And a couple of years to find out on the things that man did for us. Full-fledged Italian, moved in, a prostitute and a drug addict with 2 kids of a different race. He got disowned by his family. He saw something more in my mother than anyone ever did. All those fights, he was trying to get her off the drugs. He was trying to help her. All those arguments, he was trying to save her. There was no damn color. That man loved that woman unconditionally. And he loved us unconditionally. I only gave that man 2 years of my life that he knew that I loved him. Because my freshman year in college, he died. Now we have 5 of us, no parents. I I had to fly back home from college. I went to Carson Newman College in Jefferson City, Tennessee, 12 and a half hours away from New York. I flew back home right away. And the only thing that was on my mind, because at this time I'm numb. God and I, we don't see eye to eye. I'm numb. The only thing I'm focusing on is to keep my brothers and sisters together. The promise that I made to my mother. I begged. I literally got on my knees and begged my aunt to stay at my house so I could go back to school. And she stayed. But until my senior year, I received a phone call. And she said, baby, I can't do this anymore. I gotta split the kids up. I can't do it anymore. Financially, emotionally, I can't do it anymore. Okay, so my athletic abilities, I wasn't that good of a football player. I wasn't that great of an athlete. I was average, especially for my size. I wasn't that good. I promise you, I wasn't that good. But I knew where my heart was. I knew that if I had to pick anything out that I was able to do to help save my family, that I can put my heart and soul into, there was only one thing. It was football. There's a switch that flipped inside of me when I found out that I was about to lose my brothers and sisters. And it became a life or death thing for me. I trained like I've never trained before. Now the next thing I'm going to tell you is this true story that happened. I'm in college dormitory, have a magazine, flipping through it. There's a fan club, Walter Payton fan club. I write a letter to him, send it to him. 2 weeks later, I get a reply back. Do I know if it's Walter Payton or not? I don't know, but all I know is that sweetness. Told him what my situation was. Told him that I'm trying out for the National Football League. And this is my circumstances. He gave me his training regimens and condolences and so on. So it's words of encouragement. Those training regimens were some stuff that I never even heard of. Running through woods with the football in your hand, full speed, and avoiding trees. I did that. And I went to an all-white school, college. It was 2,500 students. The only people of color there were foreign exchange students and athletes. Other than that. So when I went and did this regiment, I was getting hit in the head, shins, everywhere. I was hitting trees. Hitting trees. So when I went to go to the cafeteria to eat, they thought I was getting beat up. They thought I was getting abused. So much so that they called me in, counselor, to find out what the hell's going on. I said, no, I'm just training. I'm okay. I didn't tell them what all it was all about. I just wanted to get them off my back and leave me the hell alone so I could take care of my business. 8 weeks I did this for. Running in the sand, running up hills with a tire, dragging a tire, running in the water. 8 weeks. I covered my body. I didn't have any, I made sure no one saw me. We're in the weight room. By the time I got done, they said I looked like a ninja turtle. But no one knew about me. I got hooked up with this small agency called Eastern Athletics. They took me on as a favor. They said, there's no way in hell you're gonna make it. They kept it real. You're not even gonna get into camp. We're doing this as a favor. Next thing you know, they said, here's the thing. This is what we're gonna do. This is the game plan. When they come to see your teammates to try out, you're gonna ask them if you can run for them, if you can work out for them. They'll never say no. Then it's all up to you. That's exactly what happened. Next thing you know, I'm asking them, hey, you mind if I run for you? Sure. I'll get up there. They had me listed as a 4'5" guy. 4'5" guy. Okay? In a 40. First time I ran for was the Buffalo Bills. Never forget. And I was the last one to run. And when I took off, I made sure I looked back to see their reaction. And it was this. I was clocking 4 threes. Got attention, great. My name was starting to get out. I knew that there was one thing that was driving me, and the only thing that was driving me, guys, when I was doing all that training. And because I was in tears all the time, for 2 reasons. Number one, my body was taking such punishment. It was almost borderline illegal what I was doing. And the other reason why I was crying is that I knew that if I did not pull this off, my family was gone. They were gone. So I gave it everything I had, every single moment I stepped on the floor. It didn't matter. I gave it everything I had. When I got in, I didn't get drafted. I signed a contract with the Denver Broncos. And I went out there in Mile High City, and I tried out. I made it to the last cut. I was so nervous. I did everything wrong in that last preseason game. I dropped punts, I dropped touchdown passes, I fumbled the ball. I did everything. The pressure was just too much. Dan Reeves calls me in his office. He says, young man, you're a talent. You're going to have a career here. I mean, a career in the National Football League, but it won't be here. Got to let you go. On that plane ride going home, I had my jacket over my head, and I was bawling because I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. I didn't know what I was going to do. That was it. And I begged God to give me one more shot, one more chance. Please. I get off the plane, I go, my high school football coach is there greeting me, and he looked at me with that look, like you did your best. And I yelled at him, it ain't over! It ain't over. The next day I get a call from the Buffalo Bills, and they want me on their practice squad. And I got that call with my family, my brothers and sisters. They didn't know how close we were from being split apart. And I bawled like a baby. And it wasn't because I was an NFL football player. Damn that. If I could sweep the streets and support my family, it was good enough for me. I bawled like a baby because I was able to keep my brothers and sisters together. I bawled like a baby because I kept my promise to my mom. I bawled like a baby because I felt like somebody. I didn't feel like trash anymore. And I honestly feel that for 1 second, had I thought about all the circumstances, all the odds that was up against me, if I thought 1 second, no way I would have been able to pull that crap off. No way. You know, I got an opportunity to do some special things throughout the course of my career. I played 6 years in the National Football League. My rookie year, went to the Super Bowl. I was voted NFC Special Teams Player of the Week 4 different times throughout my career. And I was fortunate enough, been blessed enough to be a part of a team that we set a history record, blessed to be the first man to ever return a punt for a touchdown in franchise history for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you're looking at a man that should not even be here. I appreciate my career now more than I did when I was playing, because I was playing in desperation. I never got a chance to enjoy my career. It wasn't until I started writing my book and reflecting and seeing all the things that came and transpired. It wasn't until then I actually said, you know what, kid, you did okay. Did I? I've learned so many lessons learned, so many valuable lessons. Never take anyone for granted. Never take anyone for granted. You do something, you finish it. You give it everything you have. You respect your opponent. Respect your craft. Respect your craft. You've got something to do, you do it with everything you have. You take those naysayers, you take those negativity, you use that crap for fuel. You don't know how many times I've heard, you're too small, you can't do this, you can't do that. I'm the oh yeah guy, oh yeah. Now I feel anything that's put before me, I got this. I got it. There's nothing someone can throw at me that I can't handle. I am my own worst critic. No one needs to be hard on me. I'm hard on myself. Because I have very high expectations on every single thing that I do. Everything. I fold my underwear. I'm strange. But I just have high expectations on everything that I do, and I think I've learned that through all the past experiences that I've gone through. Now, I know why I'm here. A quote from Mark Twain, 2 most important moments in a person's life. First one is when you're born, and the other one is when you find out why you're born. Now I know why I'm here. God put all of that stuff on me to be a walking testimony and to pay this thing forward on my story. If I can make it through all of that, damn. You know, I'm not afraid of failing. But I am absolutely terrified of not trying. Terrified of that. So everything I do, I give it my all. And I think that's the reason why, you know, I have a drive in me. And sometimes I even can't sleep because I'm always thinking. I'm always wanting to make sure I give it everything that I have. This next book that I'm writing is called Beyond the Limits, Finding My Purpose. And the first book that I wrote, The Next Level, a game I had to play, it was a self-published book. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. All I knew was that I had a whole lot of crap inside that I kept in for so many years that I had to get out. And that's how that book came to fruition. This book I'm writing now, I wanted to be a self-help book. I wanted to be these components that I just shared with you. I wanted to take specific items in my life that occurred, and I want people to focus on and hone on those things. Okay, that's how he got out of that. That's how he did that. I wanted to be more of a self-help. And hopefully, again, I can continue to pay this thing forward. You know, I'm so blessed to be here. Again, this is a special day for me because usually this time I'll be with my mom at her gravesite. But when I was asked to come here on this day and knew what the platform and the layout was, it wasn't even a second thought. I had to be here. And I do want to thank you guys so much for letting me come before you and share my journey with you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Greg Montgomery, one of the best in the NFL, will not.
I didn't get a chance to mourn, so I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters to look after. And I guess determination, just people saying that I couldn't do it, it made me do it. I wish my mom and dad could, see me now. They would not believe me. They would not believe me.